Hello and welcome back to COCO Gossip, your number one source for the stories the mainstream media won't touch. Tonight, we are blowing the lid off a secret so dark, so deeply buried, it threatens to shatter the very foundation of the Brown family forever. We've all watched the drama, the favoritism, the slow fracturing of a family on our screens for years. But what if I told you the reality is far more calculated and far more corrupt than you could ever imagine? What if I told you that behind the closed doors of the Brown family, a financial conspiracy has been playing out, a betrayal not just of trust, but of a sacred family legacy? We have uncovered a story of a secret trust fund, a father's dying wish ignored, and a staggering sum of money meant for all of Kody Brown's grandchildren, a fund that the original 13 children were never even told existed. If you believe in truth and you believe this family deserves to have its secrets exposed, then hit that subscribe button right now and don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. You are not going to want to miss a single second of this explosive report. Trust me, by the end of this, you will see the Brown family in a whole new and much darker light. The Gilded Cage and the Forgotten Children. To understand the magnitude of the betrayal we are about to expose, we have to go back to the beginning. Not to the cul-de-sac in Las Vegas or the sprawling divided land of Coyote Pass. We have to go back to the roots of the Brown family, to a time before the cameras, before the fame, and before the carefully constructed narrative of a happy plural family began to crumble. We have to go back to Winn Brown, the patriarch, the man whose legacy, we have discovered, has been allegedly co-opted and corrupted in the most shocking way imaginable. Winn Brown was, by all accounts, a man of principle, a man who believed in family, in hard work, and in legacy. He and his wife, Janelle, raised their children on the family ranch in Wyoming, instilling in them the values of the land and the importance of looking out for one another. While Kody has often spoken of his father, what he has failed to mention, what has been kept under a thick veil of secrecy, is the meticulous planning Winn undertook to secure the future of his entire bloodline. Through an exhaustive investigation, combing through public records and speaking with sources close to the Brown family, COCO Gossip has obtained a copy of Winn Brown's last will and testament, filed in the probate court of Bighorn County, Wyoming. And what we found within this legally binding document is a bombshell that recontextualizes years of on-screen family dynamics. The will explicitly details the creation of a trust, a financial instrument designed to safeguard a portion of his estate for a very specific purpose. It's called the Winn Brown Family Legacy Trust. I direct my executor to establish the Winn Brown Family Legacy Trust for the express benefit and education of all my beloved grandchildren, born and unborn, to be shared equally among them. All my beloved grandchildren. Let those words sink in. Not some of them, not the ones from a favored wife. All of them. Our investigation confirms that at the time of its establishment, Winn Brown seeded this trust with a principal amount of $100,000. Now, while that may not seem like a life-changing fortune in the world of reality television, let's be very clear. For a young person starting out, for a college student facing tens of thousands of dollars in tuition, that money is a lifeline. It's a head start. It's a tangible expression of a grandparent's love and hope for their future. At the time of Winn's passing, there were 13 grandchildren who fell under this legal umbrella, the children of Mary, Janelle, and Christine, the OG 13, as they are affectionately known by fans. These are the children who grew up on camera, who shared their lives, their struggles, and their triumphs with the world. They are also, according to our multiple sources, the children who were systematically and deliberately kept in the dark about their own inheritance. We have reached out to several of the adult OG children. While most were unwilling to speak on the record, citing the sensitive and potentially litigious nature of our investigation, their shock and lack of knowledge were palpable. However, we can confirm through a source very close to the family that Mykelti, Aspen, and Logan Brown have all stated unequivocally that they were never made aware of the existence of the Winn Brown Family Legacy Trust. They have never received a single dollar from this fund for their college educations, for down payments on their homes, or for any of the other life events a trust like this is designed to support. So the question becomes, if the money wasn't going to the OG-13, where did it go? And who is responsible for ensuring Winn Brown's wishes were carried out? The answer, friends, is where this story takes a truly sinister turn. The will is crystal clear. The person appointed as the sole trustee of the Winn Brown Family Legacy Trust, the individual with the legal and ethical obligation, a fiduciary duty, to manage and disperse these funds in the best interest of all the beneficiaries, is none other than Kody Brown himself. Kody said, "I'm the one who has to make the tough decisions. I'm the one who has to worry about the financial future of this family." A fiduciary duty is one of the most sacred obligations in our legal system. It means that the trustee must act with unwavering loyalty and good faith, free from any conflicts of interest. The trustee cannot favor one beneficiary over another. They are legally bound to uphold the explicit instructions of the trust's creator. In this case, Kody Brown had a legal, and one would argue a moral duty to inform every single one of his children who qualified as a beneficiary about the existence of this trust and to disperse the funds equally and fairly. But our exclusive theories, based on insider information, suggest that this is not what happened. Far from it. We now turn our attention to the arrival of Robyn Sullivan and her 3 children, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna. When Kody legally adopted Robyn's children, they, in the eyes of the law, became his children. And here is the crucial, and we believe the central point of this entire affair. Upon their adoption, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna also became legally the grandchildren of Winn Brown. This in itself is not the issue. The trust was established for all grandchildren. The issue, according to our sources, is that they became the only grandchildren to ever benefit from it. While the specific transaction history of a private trust is not a matter of public record, a source with knowledge of the family's financial dealings has provided COCO Gossip with evidence that strongly suggests a pattern of annual disbursements being made from a trust account controlled by Kody Brown. These disbursements, labeled for educational expenses, were allegedly directed into accounts set up for Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna. This began, our source alleges, shortly after their legal adoption. Let us be perfectly clear about what this means. If these allegations are true, it means that for years, Kody Brown, in his capacity as trustee, was actively dispersing funds to the children of his 4th, and now only wife, while the children of his first 3 wives, the OG 13, were left to fend for themselves, completely unaware that their own grandfather had left them a financial legacy. Mike Kelty said, "We've just always had to be really careful with money. We've never had a lot of extra." Christine said, "I've had to tell my kids no a lot. It's hard when you have so many and you're trying to make ends meet." The hypocrisy is staggering. For years, we have watched Christine and Janelle's children take on debt for school, work tirelessly to support themselves, and even contribute to the larger family pot. We saw Isabel's heartbreaking struggle to get a necessary surgery, a struggle that was framed by Kody as a financial and logistical burden. Yet, all this time, a pot of money, a fund specifically created for her and her siblings' benefit, was allegedly being drained by one side of the family, a side that was already perceived as receiving the lion's share of the family's resources. This isn't just a case of parental favoritism. If these reports are proven true, this is a serious legal matter. This is a potential breach of fiduciary duty. As trustee, Kody had a legal obligation to be transparent with all beneficiaries. Hiding the existence of the trust from 13 of the beneficiaries while dispersing funds to the other 3 is a textbook example of a breach of that duty. He had a duty of loyalty to not favor one set of beneficiaries over another for his own personal reasons. In this case, his apparent preference for Robyn and her children. So let's construct a theory here based on the information we have. An exclusive theory from COCO Gossip. What if the legal marriage to Mary and the subsequent divorce was never just about adopting Robyn's kids? What if it was the key to unlocking their inheritance? By divorcing Mary and legally marrying Robyn, Kody not only solidified her position as the legal head wife, but he also made her children legally his. This act, in turn, legally qualified them as beneficiaries of the Winn Brown Family Legacy Trust. Was this a long game all along? Was the narrative sold to the wives and the public that this was purely for the children's security, a cover for a financial maneuver? It's a chilling thought. It suggests a level of premeditation and deceit that is truly astounding. It would mean that Kody, with Robyn's knowledge and perhaps her encouragement, saw an opportunity to divert a family legacy intended for everyone and channel it exclusively towards their own newly formed nuclear family. beyond the legalities, we must consider the emotional devastation. Imagine being one of the OG 13. Imagine finding out that for your entire adult life, a gift from your grandfather, a symbol of his love, was kept from you. Imagine realizing that while you were struggling to pay for college, working 2 jobs to make rent, your own father was allegedly giving your inheritance to your step-siblings. Imagine the profound sense of betrayal, not just by your father, but by the woman he replaced your mothers with. This isn't just about money, it's about value. It's about being seen, being acknowledged, being loved equally. For years, Janelle and Christine, in particular, have spoken about their children feeling like second-class citizens in their own family. They've talked about the emotional toll of Kody's absence, his disinterest, his blatant favoritism towards Robyn's children. This trust fund, this secret, is the financial manifestation of that emotional neglect. It's the ultimate proof, written in black and white in a legal document, that in Kody's eyes, some of his children are simply worth more than others. And now, for another COCO Gossip exclusive. A source close to the Brown family has suggested a recent development that makes this story even more explosive. Remember the constant arguments over the lots at Coyote Pass? The endless drama about who would build where and the size of Robyn's mansion. Our insider alleges that Kody's initial plan for the division of the land was directly influenced by the knowledge of this trust. The theory is that Kody justified giving the smaller, less desirable lots to his other wives because, in his mind, their children had access to this separate inheritance from their grandfather. It was a way for him to mentally and perhaps legally justify giving Robyn the lion's share of the primary family asset, the land itself. Think about it. If he could tell himself, well, Janelle's kids have their grandfather's trust fund to fall back on, it would make it much easier to rationalize giving her a smaller parcel of land. The problem, of course, is that he never told Janelle's kids about the trust. He kept it a secret. So he was using a secret he was keeping from them as a justification to shortchange them in other areas of the family's finances. It is a stunningly circular and self-serving piece of logic, a true masterclass in manipulation. We must, of course, maintain a degree of journalistic integrity. These are, as we've stated, insider reports and exclusive theories based on the documents and sources we have gathered. We are putting the pieces together. But the picture that is emerging is a deeply disturbing one. It is a picture of a family patriarch who has allegedly violated not only the sacred trust of his own father, but also his legal and moral obligations to his own children. But this story is not just about betrayal. It's about reckoning, because the discovery of this will, the Winn Brown Family Legacy Trust, changes everything. It is the smoking gun that the OG 13 have been unknowingly searching for. It is the key that unlocks years of unexplained financial disparities and emotional neglect. With this document, the OG 13 grandchildren now have immediate and undeniable legal standing. They can file a lawsuit against Kody Brown for breach of fiduciary duty. They can legally compel him to provide a full accounting of the trust's finances from the very beginning. They can demand to see where every single dollar has gone. And if it is proven that the funds were improperly dispersed to Robyn's children, a court can order that money to be paid back into the trust and redistributed legally and equally among all 18 grandchildren. They can petition the court to have Kody removed as trustee for his gross mismanagement and replaced with a neutral third party. This is the win for the OG 13. It is a discovery. The truth finally brought into the light. For years, they have been gaslit, ignored, and financially marginalized. Now, they hold the power. They have the proof. Their grandfather did not forget them. Their grandfather provided for them. It was their own father, we allege, who stood in the way. The question now is, what will they do? Will they unite? Will they take on their father in a court of law to claim what is rightfully theirs and to expose the years of financial deception? This is no longer just a family drama to be played out on television. This has escalated into a legal battle for a family's soul, for a grandfather's legacy, and for the very definition of fairness and parental love. The secret is out. The clock is ticking. And a storm is gathering over Flagstaff, a storm that threatens to wash away the carefully constructed lies and reveal the ugly truth that has been festering at the heart of the Brown family for over a decade. We uncovered what can only be described as the Brown family's darkest secret. we revealed the existence of the Winn Brown Family Legacy Trust, a fund established by Kody's late father with $100,000 in seed money intended for the education and benefit of all his grandchildren. We presented court documents naming Kody Brown as the sole trustee, legally bound by a sacred fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of every single beneficiary. And then the bombshell. Our insider reports, supported by multiple sources close to the family, allege a shocking pattern of deception. For over a decade, only Robyn's 3 children, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna, have received disbursements from this trust. The original 13 grandchildren, the children of Mary, Janelle, and Christine, were never even told the trust existed. They were left to struggle, to take on student debt, and to navigate their young adult lives, believing the family was perpetually on the brink of financial collapse, all while their inheritance was allegedly being funneled to Kody's favored children. This isn't just favoritism. If proven true, it's a profound legal and moral betrayal. But the story doesn't end there. The questions we were left with at the end of part 1 are the questions that lead us into even darker territory. How could a secret like this be kept for so long? Was Kody Brown the sole architect of this alleged scheme, or did he have a partner? What was the true motive behind hiding a grandfather's gift from his own children? And how does this financial deception connect to the biggest and most contentious family asset of all, Coyote Pass? The answers, we believe, will not only shock you, but will also forever change the way you view the power dynamics in this family. We're going to follow the money, explore the motive, and reveal the one person who may have been the true mastermind all along. The architect of deception and the Coyote Pass conspiracy. In any story of a family divided, of secrets and lies, there is often more than one player. For years, viewers of Sister Wives have pointed to Robyn Brown as a central figure in the family's disintegration. She has been labeled as manipulative, calculating, and Kody's undisputed favorite. But our investigation suggests her role in this family drama may be far more significant and far more sinister than anyone has yet dared to report. We must now ask the million-dollar question. What did Robyn know, and when did she know it? COCO Gossip has received a new report from an insider with intimate knowledge of the Brown family's inner circle. This source alleges that Robyn Brown was not a passive bystander in the matter of the Winn Brown Family Legacy Trust. Our source claims she was aware of the trust's existence from very early in her marriage to Kody, and that she was not just a beneficiary by proxy, but an active participant in the decision to conceal its existence from the other wives and their children. Let's explore an exclusive theory based on this new information. Could Robyn have been the architect of this entire scheme? Let's look at the facts as they've been presented. Robyn entered the Brown family in 2010, reportedly with a significant amount of debt. She has always been portrayed as being very conscious of and concerned with her financial security. It was her desire for a higher standard of living that often drove the family's financial decisions. The insistence on a rental home instead of buying, the push for larger and more expensive houses, the desire for high-end material possessions. What if, upon learning about this $100,000 trust from Kody, Robyn didn't see it as a beautiful gift for the entire family? What if, with her business-oriented and, some might say, opportunistic mindset, she saw it as a solution to her own financial anxieties, a private, untouchable nest egg for her children, who she has always claimed were ostracized and needed extra protection? It's a classic motive, perceived need coupled with opportunity and a sense of entitlement. Let's re-examine that timeline through this new lens. The sequence of events is chillingly efficient. Kody divorces his first legal wife of over 2 decades, Mary. He then legally marries Robyn. Almost immediately, he begins the process of legally adopting her 3 children. The narrative sold to the public and to the family was that this was all for the children's security, to ensure they would remain with Kody if anything ever happened to Robyn. But what if the primary motivation was financial? What if the goal was to legally transform Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna into grandchildren of Winn Brown, thereby making them beneficiaries of the trust? There is a legal concept known as intentional interference with an expected inheritance. This is a claim that can be made when one party intentionally prevents another from receiving an inheritance through fraudulent means, such as by exerting undue influence over the person in control of the assets. In this case, the person in control was the trustee, Kody. If it could be argued that Robyn used her influence over Kody to persuade him to violate his fiduciary duty, to hide the trust from the OG-13 and disperse their rightful share to her own children, she could potentially be held liable herself. It moves her from the passenger seat of this conspiracy right into the driver's seat. To understand the why, we have to understand the deep-seated us versus them mentality that has defined Kody and Robyn's relationship for years. In their minds, they were the ones making all the sacrifices. They were the ones holding the family together while everyone else was being disloyal and disrespectful. This victim narrative is the perfect psychological soil for a secret like this to grow. It would be easy for them to justify it to themselves. The OG-13 don't deserve it. Their mothers have turned them against us. They're not part of our real family anymore. We'll use this money to protect and provide for the children who are loyal, the children who see Kody as their true father. The secret trust becomes more than money. It becomes a weapon. It becomes a financial fortress for their own private kingdom, built on a foundation of their shared grievances. But the deception, we allege, goes even deeper than educational payouts. To truly understand the scope of this betrayal, we have to follow the money, and all roads lead back to that contentious money pit of a property, Coyote Pass. First, let's consider the trust itself. A sum of $100,000, established over a decade ago. Even with modest, conservative investments, that principal would have grown significantly. We consulted with a financial analyst for this report. They suggested that depending on the investment strategy, the Winn Brown Family Legacy Trust could be worth anywhere from $180,000 to over $250,000 today, even after accounting for the alleged annual disbursements to Robyn's children. This wasn't just a small pot of money, it was a substantial asset, an asset that was sitting there under Kody's sole control. Now, for what may be the most shocking theory in our entire investigation. What if the trust money wasn't just used for tuition and textbooks for Robyn's kids? What if Kody leveraged the entire trust as a financial tool for his own ambitions? Our insider source has alluded to financial maneuvers that go far beyond simple disbursements. This has led us to a new exclusive theory, the Coyote Pass Collateral conspiracy. Let's break this down. The Browns have always been cash poor. We saw them struggle to get the down payment for their Las Vegas homes. We know they drained their savings to purchase the Coyote Pass property for $820,000. Where did that money come from? They claimed it was from the sale of their Vegas homes, but there was always a sense that they were stretched to the absolute limit. Our theory is this: Kody Brown, as trustee, may have used the assets within the Winn Brown Family Legacy Trust as collateral to secure the financing needed to purchase Coyote Pass. Using a trust as collateral for a loan is a complex but not unheard of financial maneuver. However, to do so would be an egregious and likely illegal breach of his fiduciary duty. He would be taking an asset meant for his grandchildren's education and risking it on a speculative land deal for the entire family. He would be commingling funds and exposing the inheritance to the risks of his own financial decisions. Kody said, "The pressure of this land, it is crushing me. We have to get this land paid off." This theory suddenly reframes Kody's on-screen panic. Was his desperation to pay off the land not just about being debt-free? Was it about releasing the lien on the trust? Was he terrified that if they defaulted on the Coyote Pass loan, the bank would seize the trust's assets, and his decade-long secret would be exposed in the most catastrophic way possible? It would explain everything: the secrecy, the pressure, the constant robbing of Peter to pay Paul. He couldn't tell the OG-13 about their inheritance because he was actively gambling with it. Their money was tied up in the very dirt they were all fighting over. This would also explain, with chilling clarity, his justification for giving Robyn the largest and most valuable plot of land. In his mind, she deserved it because it was her children's inheritance that was making the whole thing possible. It is impossible to continue this story without addressing the heartbreaking reality that has cast a dark shadow over the Brown family and their viewers. The recent tragic passing of Garrison Brown is a devastating loss that transcends any reality TV drama, and it is with the utmost respect for his memory that we must now consider how this alleged financial betrayal intersects with the very real emotional pain that we saw him and his siblings endure. We watched Garrison struggle. We saw a young man who wanted his father's approval, who wanted to feel seen and valued. We know he worked hard to save money for a down payment on his own home, a symbol of his independence and a step into a future he was building for himself. And now we are forced to ask the most painful question of all. What if? What if Garrison had known? What if, during those times of struggle and feeling disconnected from his father, he had received a letter informing him that his beloved grandfather, Winn, had left him and his siblings a gift? It wouldn't have been a fortune, but it would have been something, a few $1,000s, a tangible piece of his family legacy. We are not, for a moment, suggesting it would have changed the tragic outcome. But we must consider the emotional weight of this secret, the knowledge that you have not been forgotten, the knowledge that your grandfather thought of you, provided for you. Could that knowledge have eased some of the financial pressure he was under? Could it have served as a reminder that he was a valued part of a larger family legacy, even when his own father was keeping him at a distance? This alleged secret is the ultimate symbol of the emotional and financial neglect that Janelle and Christine's children have described for years. It represents a moral bankruptcy that is, in many ways, even more profound than the financial one. While Kody was allegedly protecting and enriching the children of one wife, his other children were drifting. They were feeling abandoned. This isn't just about a breach of a legal trust. It's about the breach of the sacred trust between a father and his children. And viewed through the lens of Garrison's tragic death, the alleged hoarding of this inheritance for the favored few seems not just cruel, but unforgivably callous. The discovery of this secret now, in the wake of this tragedy, would be nothing short of pouring salt in an open wound for Janelle and her children. It would recontextualize their grief, coloring it with an even deeper sense of betrayal and anger. So where does this leave the Brown family? It leaves them at a precipice. The carefully constructed facade has been shattered, and the truth, in all its ugliness, is coming to light. We have presented you with the evidence, the last will and testament of Winn Brown. We have presented you with the key players, Kody Brown, the trustee who allegedly betrayed his duty, and Robyn Brown, the alleged architect of the deception. We have presented you with our exclusive insider reports and theories, the secret disbursements, the use of the trust as collateral for Coyote Pass, and the devastating emotional toll of this decade-long secret. The power now shifts to the OG-13. They have the proof, they have the legal standing, they have the moral high ground. They can sue their father, they can force a full accounting of every dollar their grandfather left for them. They can expose this alleged conspiracy in a court of law and reclaim what is rightfully theirs. This will be their reckoning. A legacy is more than just money. It is a story passed down through generations. It is a testament to a family's values. Winn Brown's legacy was intended to be one of love, equality, and support for his entire bloodline. It was a promise to his grandchildren that he would always be there for them. Our investigation has revealed how that beautiful promise was allegedly twisted into a tool of control, favoritism, and profound betrayal. The truth is finally out, and whether this plays out in a courtroom or in the shattered remnants of their family relationships, one thing is certain: the Brown family and the carefully crafted narrative they sold to the world will never, ever be the same. But what do you think? Is this the ultimate betrayal? Is this proof of a calculated conspiracy years in the making? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice is part of this story. And if you believe that secrets like these deserve to be brought into the light, make sure you have subscribed to COCO Gossip and have rung that notification bell, because our investigation is far from over. Thank you for watching.